morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kore Isagami, your resident tinker and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Well, it looks like the summer festival and kicking off the blazing heat didn't quite go as long as everyone thought it would. A lot of us were indeed expecting a two-parter with a 2-week, likely introducing the final couple models from Girls Mission we were missing, alongside Whip World and Arachno Spider that we got last week. But that doesn't seem to be the case. This week, indeed, looks like we're going back to business as per usual, but this time we're taking a few steps farther back in Medarot's history. I'm more than certain a handful of these colors may or may not be reminiscent to some people. And if you are thinking indeed of the elementals from the days of Medarot 2 or even the GBA game, you are indeed correct. Over the last roughly about year or so, they've teased every here and there and released upgraded forms to the elementals, endearingly known as the Neo Elementals, with upgraded forms and much more potent kits than what the original models had. Over this last year, we had the introduction of Wind Sylph and Flame Vulcan first, then Aqua Nereid came just a little bit later to kind of round out that set as a trio. But we had gone basically a year straight without seeing the introduction of the fourth and final sister of the quartet to receive their Neo Elemental upgrade. But that is no longer the case. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week, starting with the gacha banners and who to expect, because it is going to be quite the busy episode, and I am going to encourage that you guys stick around until the very end, where I do officially announce the winners for the PRB Orimeda Contest. So this is your heads up now. Make sure you tune in till the end, because the news itself is relatively short, but I am looking forward to being able to talk about all the entries that we got in the contest at the end of all the coverage. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started and get this ball rolling. Now, the first and only model that we will be seeing going live this week as far as new models is concerned is, of course, the fourth and final Neo Elemental sister of the four, the Earth Elemental. That is GNM01 Earth Gnome, with a kit of Minus Guard, Charge Guard, Zetai Guard, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Hoplite. Now, the original Earth Chrono was kind of just there, not really anything to write home about unless you really were kind of in dire need of a defender on any female teams. But in this case, Earth Gnome basically takes everything that held Earth Chrono back and basically amped it up hugely, with a lot of very powerful and albeit selective guards that can make her a very dangerous force to be reckoned with if you don't actively pay attention to what kind of guard she's using. And if you add Hoplite on top of that, her already obscenely tanky bulk already gets even better for every defense part that she comes equipped with, which, look at that, 3 parts right there means she's going to be packing the bulk, and it's going to be near impossible to break anything on her quick sooner than later once she does hit the field. Furthermore, there will also be a step-up banner featuring all 4 of the Neo Elemental sisters, as you see here, that will be going live this week. Well, basically how this works with paid rubies only is it will be stepping up for every multi that you do in it, and up to your 5th step will be a guaranteed, most likely one of the 4 at random, as you see here. Honestly, all 4 of the Neo Elementals are fairly solid in their own right, either between bulk, utilization, or something else of the like. So even if you do end up with go through the step up and get someone that is not who you're looking for, say for instance you get Nereid instead of Gnome, you're still going to be walking out with something really, really useful at the end of the day. Now, Earth Gnome will also be featuring a couple of boosted rates alongside her as well, and those two will be COT0 Chaos Fixer with Super Repair, Double Break Hammer, Multi-Legs, and Shape Memory. It is also worth noting that Chaos Fixer is considered a gender N type, which means that its parts can be used on male or female parts respectively. Furthermore, we also have QUN0 Aurora Queen with Triple Free Shot, Biped Legs, and Snow type. Now, being completely honest, Chaos Fixer is one of those models where if you have it, great, but it's not really anything to write home about. But Aurora Queen, even if she isn't anything overly impressive either, aside from perhaps having access to free shot very easily between all 3 parts, the legs with the leg ability of Snow type is fantastic, as snowy terrain is generally one that a lot of legs tend to struggle with, and having any legs that have mastery in this is already going to be a major plus, as that will put you at a fairly significant advantage over most others that are trying just to keep their legs above the snow without getting drowned in it. Now, as far as the Fierce battles are concerned going on this week, though, it is going to be a very incredible user-friendly week, so really, really handy for a lot of new players or rookies that are just starting out. Starting us off on this top row, we have HMS-0 Jungarian with radar sight, double Gatling, float legs, and mascot. We have KBT-11 Sagehorn with triple sword, biped legs, and generator, and KWG-11 Hirschkäfer with triple rifle, biped legs, and radiator. On the bottom row, we have EPI-0 Bone Cracker with heel trap, double sword, float legs, and straight. BRA-0 Land Brachio with anti-air, double beam, tank legs, and bullet rain. And PTL-0 Air Terra with radar sight, double sword, flight legs, and also with straight. So, like I said, it's going to be a very solid user-friendly week as far as models to farm for is concerned. And with that being said, it's honestly kind of hard to gauge an MVP of the week over any of the others, because even if I did put down Sagehorn and Hirschkäfer here as the two main MVPs of the week, all 6 models do feature some fairly solid parts that can get you started very early on and even carry you through a lot of the mid-game content if you do find yourself lacking good parts. So that being said, just kind of breaking down all 6 of these. Well, Jungarian mostly for the Gatling, especially with the with the scatter effect and possibly triggering the silent leader effect. Sagehorn for non-heavy sword on any of the 3 parts listed. Hirschkäfer for the same with non-heavy rifles in any particular spot. Bone Cracker for basic sword on either arm and fairly solid float legs with an emphasis on melee attacks. Land Brachio with tank legs and bullet rain is great for all your tank type shooters that need an emphasis on artillery more than anything else. And Air Terra also for your general all-around melee coverage for real drawback or weakness with what he brings to the table. But ultimately, Sagehorn and Hirschkäfer will be the MVP of the weeks, so do make sure that if you are going to farm for these, that those 2 are going to be the big ones in question that you walk out with first. Now, we also have a new Super Invasion that is going live this week as well, featuring all 4 of the Neo Elementals themselves, much like the original Elemental Super Invasion that we got relatively early on back in the early days of Medarot S. So this is basically going to be a reprise of that, but likely with new rules and much stronger opponents this time around. So do make sure that you are at the top of your game, ready to go and to take on the Neo Elementals, and your reward for participating will be a profile plate and extra rubies and cyplasium as your walkaway rewards. So I'm wishing you guys the best of luck with that, and as a friendly reminder before I do continue, there is a link to a Google Drive in the comments below. This Google Drive will take you to a list of walkthroughs and strategy guides written by yours truly or contributed by fans that have also helped me out with a lot of translation and legwork. So there is in there a guide specifically on the Super Invasion. Feature all of the rules and the modifiers of every round so you know how to build your team when you are assembling them. So do make sure you take a look at that in the comments below as well, and alongside the the beginner guide, the medals guide, skills guide, or anything else that you're interested in. Now, the event itself that we'll be featuring the Elementals is essentially just a rerun event, so to any seasoned vets that have been in the game for a while, this really will not be anything new to you. But this does feature the opportunity for newer players and rookies to earn the Ghost Medal, which has a mastery in melee, healing, and setup, and leg masteries in wheel, float, and flight. We can also earn RAP-0 Rappy with Charge Plant, Double Sacrifice, Flight Legs, and Mascot. And Medarot Nye, or Professor Nye, which is the N and R rank respectively, and of course monthly gacha tickets. This event will also be ticket-based, so bonuses will stack per part equipped across your team. So you don't need to focus on using pure sets if you don't exactly have everything you need. This is basically just going to be go in, buy and redeem the rewards you want, and then you can basically call it a day. But once again, if you are a seasoned vet of at least a year or so or longer, this event really won't be anything particularly new to you, and more or less just kind of a nice week to kind of relax and save and accumulate resources, since the Full Metal Panic collaboration that we got a couple weeks ago that will be ending this week, by the way, did drain a lot of people dry when it comes to their Ruby resources. One last note as far as Medarot S is concerned is that they will be celebrating a 2,000-day operation gift with the 5.5-year anniversary that is coming up here in the next couple weeks. So there will be a special gift for all players that log in to redeem for lots of limited resources. So as you see here, Cyplasium, power-up chips, ROMs, MetaGIS, or any other power-up chips in general. This is going to be a really good opportunity to pick up some rare resources that are otherwise fairly difficult to find and collect on your own. So do make sure you keep an eye on that when in your daily login in the next week or so, when in the next couple days when the patch goes live, so that you can redeem that and put it to good use. Now, as far as MedaSurvivor is concerned, though, it is going to be a fairly quiet couple weeks. Nothing new to announce, no guest artists or anything special, so it's going to be relatively quiet, like I said. They're going to be rerunning a Rokusho and Koga Senjo event, so nothing really to report on there. Just kind of a reset of the events of stuff to kind of keep things going and keep players engaged. So, relatively quiet week as far as that is concerned. Nothing really to report, and that is always nice every then. Moving on to community stuff, though, as always, we are always looking for translators to assist us with any current projects or endeavors. This includes any current translation projects, such as the Medarot 4 translation or the manga translations that are still in talks or ongoing. So if you are knowledgeable in coding or cleaning or Japanese, or if you know somebody that is and have time on their hands, feel free to ask around, join our Discord in the link provided below as well, and we are more than happy to get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what still needs done and what still needs finished. Now, additionally, or alternatively, if you do not know anybody or do not have any talent of your own to offer, there is also a link to various crowdfunding in the comments below as well, where you can donate to the cause and we can commission to have some of those lines of text translated. And that alone will mean a lot of work is taken off the translators, so all they have to do is clean up and typeset, which is arguably the harder part of them, and it's just so many lines of text that need translated that bogs everything down. But with that being said, now comes the fun part of this week's episode, so I do hope you've been sticking around for the last roughly about 10 minutes or so that I've been reporting on the meta news. Like I said, relatively quiet week this week, which is great. But now comes the time of being able to announce the Orimeda Contest winners for Project Rising Beetle. For those that are unaware, we have to celebrate my 4-year anniversary. From about mid-May to the end of June, we have been hosting a steampunk-themed Orimeda contest in the Discord server, where all participants can submit designs and entries, and the winning designs that will be announced here, of course, will be given personalized concept arts drawn by yours truly, and I will even stream myself doing them. So I do admit I kind of wish we got a whole lot more entries, and I did kind of set my hopes a little bit high on that one with my 4-year anniversary, so that's a little bit on me. But we still got a lot of very exciting entries all the same, and I know steampunk might be a little tricky for some people to kind of capture the essence of with design, but I think a lot of these folks did a really good job with that. The first of which here is this one by Iron Clark with Pestarine with a Bioshock Infinite inspiration, as you see here. Now, Iron Clark has also done a lot of themed designs in the past with other Orimeda contests, so it's always nice to see more stuff from Iron Clark, especially with this one here with Pestarine as a nice little peregrine falcon bird fellow kind of design here, with a kit of anchor, blowaway, breakclaw, and float. So really creative design. I like the use of the bronze and the browns as well to really kind of tie the theme together. And the use of rivets and gauges on there is also a really nice touch as far as the aesthetic is concerned. Now this one here by Navaldius decided to go for a really creative route this time around for an aesthetic that has not been approached with a lot of the more iconic designs. And this one here with Brass Turtle following the design of a lot of iconic tortoise types, such as Yellow Turtle or Keith Turtle, with a very unique design as well. It's not very complex and a fairly simplistic design, but honestly that's also a really nice feature and the aesthetic to steampunk, where it doesn't have to be constantly overdone or reinvented with rivets and plating, or even lots of cogs and gears. And even just relying on pipes and sheets of metal is always a really good function too. With a kit there of a couple relatively new skills that they mentioned here. Shell Full Charge, Beam Barrage, Hyper Beam with good tank legs. Really creative design, and especially with Medarot S coming up with a lot of new ways to fuse a lot of special skills or support skills to make them more useful. I would be interested in seeing how they can make use of that in the coming future. So wonderful works to both of these, and I'm so glad to have seen them in the contest as it did progress. The next set of entries, this one here by Zero Mythos with Chrono Gear, is a very unique design. Didn't have a chance to finish coloring it looks like, but still very solid overall. Let me see. Bot inspired heavily by the Chronomancer of Adventure Quest and Land Motor going through several iterations. Fine. So I could definitely pick up on those as well with the initial concept sketch you gave here. Fairly solid, very bulky as well. Shoot, freeze, and metaphor seals, shoot and canceller actions. Very, very solid and very creative choices, actually, for a clockwork style of combat like that, being able to freeze time or pause time, so to speak. And this one here by Gray Mellows with Wicker Fog is kind of a light post or lantern post lighter kind of design, and I really like the creativity of this one as well. It doesn't look overly complex, it's fairly simplistic in the design, and I actually really like the mono eye. A lot of models tend to focus on either having a blank visor or expressive eyes, or even just plastered eyes on there as well with an eye sensor or something like that, and there's always charms to those too, but I really like the mono eye in this case too, because it's something you don't see a lot of, and it still applies for and gives a lot of possibility for being expressive with the design. You know, if you were to imagine in everyday life and everyday situations, with a kit there of static, fire shot, flash, and adapter. Fairly solid kit as well, as a very user-friendly kind of model. So wonderful work to the both of these as well for some wonderful entry. Thank you so much for participating. The third wave that we have here is this one by Saskia Sketches, which was a last-minute entry, no less, actually. They were able to put something in right like the day before the contest officially closed, so wonderful to see another last-minute entry pop in there with Angel, as you see here. So overall, not super complex either, fairly solid and very basic color scheme and concept as well. But sometimes even the basic designs have the most charm to them with the less is more aesthetic, which is definitely a very big piece of one asset to the steampunk style as well. With a kit there of a lock-on, a support skill, a shield skill, and a shooting skill. Very solid bulk as well, and I really like the background that you put into them. Something to mention in the Discord channel specifically is Saskia did put a ton, and I mean a ton, of concept sketches and development sketches that they put together for Angel here. So I really like that time and effort that goes into creating a design. So I live for that. Wonderful work to Saskia. And this one here by Lucas with Cloctopus, who was actually the first entry that we received when the contest first went up. So this one has been around pretty much for the entire duration of the contest while it was open. But much like Navaldius did with the Tortoise type series, Lucas decided to go around with the CLA, the Octopus series, with something more unique. A steampunk style or tentacle style or tread style octopus, and I really liked a lot of the design and elements of this one too. Not only with the elements of the gears and the treads on there, which are a lot of very iconic steampunk style elements. The use of the cables as well for the arms, both the upper arm and even the hand as well, was really creative. And even the glass dome with the kind of like the light bulb fixtures on the head and the shoulders was also a very nice touch. So I really like seeing stuff like this. I really like how how you went through and did the backgrounds are on actual blueprint paper. I thought that was really creative as well. So wonderful work to this wave of sketches as well, and contest entries. All of them were fantastic, and even with the few entries that were received, you guys still made it fairly difficult on me to decide on winners, to the point that I actually had to ask some friends of mine that are uninvolved for some feedback on who to decide as the winners. But ultimately, I think I'm confident in who we all did decide on and settle on for the winners. Those two specifically, as I chose to choose two winners in this contest, because, again, you guys just made it really hard on me. The first of which is by Vaucus Mermaid, who's been in a number of contests in the past as well, with their design of Coil Cat. Now, this one actually was extremely popular with all of the friends that I've asked around and showed all the entrants to. This was basically like the first one that they went after and looked at, so they liked this one immediately. So, wonderful work. This is most certainly one of the winners of the contest by far, for a very creative design, much also like Navaldius, with touching on a more iconic motif, this time with the cat, but adding the steampunk motif there, especially with the light bulb style shoulders and the whiskers, the light bulb on the tail as well, lots of brass fittings and the skirt framing on there as well. I really liked how this design came out, and everyone I asked about it said basically the same thing. And of course, this one here by Henrik Pirot also came up with a very creative design for Soul Train, with a very creative design with a lot of fairly new skills as well that they were introducing as a proof of concept. Now, I did actually have to trim this art down just a little bit to get it to fit on here, but it was still a very creative design all the same, and a lot of machine type or vehicle type models like this are things that you really don't see all that often, especially in the steampunk style. So this one was also a very big choice with a lot of people, as well as a very clear winner. Honestly, tied with Clocktopus in a lot of cases. A lot of people said it was either going to be Soul Train or Clocktopus as their second choices. But in this case, just enough of them said Soul Train won out by just a little bit in that case. So ultimately, these two are the winners for this session's contest of steampunk-themed Orimedas, with Vacus Mermaid with Coil Cat and Henrik Pirot with Soul Train. So congratulations to the both of you. I will be coordinating those streams to draw those sometime in the next couple weeks, and I will be drawing those on stream, and of course sending links as well so you guys can watch and hang out with me while I do that. So I am looking forward to that. Do stay tuned with me on Twitter or any of my other socials to keep up to date with that. And of course, I will be announcing the winners in the contest channels as well before those close, so do make sure you take a look there and congratulate everyone for participating. On the topic of art, though, and of course Iron Clark, I was able to speak with our resident spooky little armorer over there, and I'm going to be having him aboard with me on the MNN as a guest host for an Orimeda stream. It's going to be very exciting to see what he and I can come up with on the 12th of July, so this coming Saturday, actually, at time of recording at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I really need to change that to EDT thanks to daylight savings, but that is beside the point. For those that are unaware how I host my Orimeda streams, I essentially have them play around with the Orimeda generator, and they come up with 3 or 4 designs to bring to stream. We decide on one and come up with something unique together. So I am very excited to have Iron Clark with me this coming Saturday, and I do hope that y'all are as well. Do make sure you tune in with us on this coming Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time to hang out with us as we come up with something brand new, unique, and never before seen. On the topic of art, as I do wrap us up here, as a friendly reminder, I personally am also always open for commission. So do make sure that you can ask me either on Twitter or Blue Sky or Discord. I do live 2D models ready to rig, 3D models with the works, standard art of varying degrees. I do emote bundles as well. I will do just about anything as you see here, minus anything NSFW or gore. So I like to believe that I'm fairly reasonable in that respect. So the DMs are always open. Feel free to shoot one to me, and we can most certainly try to make something happen. But with all that being said, that does basically cover everything for this week's episode. So, like I said, fairly light as far as Medarot S content is concerned, and even MedaSurvivor. But I am very excited to announce the winners of the Ori contest. With that being said, though, do make sure that you follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community that is also run and managed, and currently almost cresting 50,000 members. I am so excited to see how far that community has grown in its 8 years. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, weekly episodes, or anything else of the like. That is the first place that you will hear the news before it goes anywhere else on the net. And you can also reach out to me personally on Twitter, Blue Sky, or Discord, like I said, at Isagamikura. So do make sure that you reach out to me as well if you have any questions, suggestions, feedbacks, if you want to commission me, or if you'd like to collaborate with me, which is having you on the guest here on the MNN as a guest host, or me stopping in on your channel for a friendly chat or game. I am always open to communicating and coordinating. Lastly, do also give Iron Clark a follow at Clark Designer, both on Twitter and on Blue Sky, where they are more active, more personally, for more of their unique arts and their armories, where they come up with a lot of very unique armor and weapon class designs that they come up with, much like I do with the Orimeda stream. So we'll love to see more of that, and always very creative to see its feeds. And then, of course, also follow the official Medarot S page on Twitter, which you can get all the news from straight from the source every time it goes live. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kurt Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.